How's it going, boys and girls? My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to the Eden of Grisaia. So, Operation Day is here. The operation is technically going. Pretty much it is the setup phase for the very long day. We saw that Meikyuu was getting set up in her hotel room to do some sniping later in the night when things get interesting. So, I believe now we are going to see what is going on with Amane and Meikyuu as they are currently together. Driving. However, I would like to bring back a old tradition, or I guess something that I used to do every now and again. Read a comment before I begin the recording session. So a couple episodes ago, I got the comment from Matt Lester saying the long day begins. Michael SK, I hope you enjoy the roller coaster of emotions that you'll experience throughout this long day you're about to experience. And man, I've been just super excited to spend this time with all of you ever since I started recording. But now that this day has come, where things will get absolutely insane, probably, I'm happy I'm here to experience every bit of whatever the fuck will happen with all of you guys. So I'm pretty sure that it will be a roller coaster of emotions at some point. And as long as I've got you guys to, help me out and make fun of me, then I think we'll all be good. Also, I do want to bring back that that deal with trying to post some comments here on the screen. I do read your guys' comments, and I want that to be evidence that I do read them, even so I don't always respond. But whatever, enough of that, let's actually get going. Back in the day, motor vehicles came equipped with a warning system that would play a sound when the driver exceeded a set speed. Sometimes this would be a teeny electronic beep, or a rhythmical chime. A few even tinkled cheerfully at you, like the bell carried by a Buddhist pilgrim. Those alarms were mostly a thing of the past. The car Amane was presently driving, however, had an organic warning system, one that produced rather less pleasant sounds. Oh. I see where this is going. Its name, the Matsushima Speed Alarm System. This was a highly sensitive system indeed. Say the car in front of you turned in a intersection, simply pushing down on the accelerator to close the open space on the road would be enough to trigger the alarm. No matter if you were merely keeping pace with the traffic, you'd still be treated with a chorus of The only way to avoid this was to avoid any sudden movements at all. It was, to be honest, a real pain in the butt.
まあね。一度でも人の運転する車でひどい目に遭うとそうなるのはわかるし、その原因を作ったのは私なんだけどさ。この車なら荷台から落ちることもないんだし。こうして普通に運転しててもケポケポしちゃうのはどうにかならないかな。無理。なんかこう頭で分かってても体が逃げ出そうとするのよ。つうかさ、あの荷台から落ちた時だって他の荷物は落ちなかったのに、なんであんただけ落ちたの？わかんない。荷台の上に立ってたからかも。前を見てたらふっと気が抜けたっていうか。なんかわかる気がする。
She'd probably gotten drunk on the speed. And it doesn't really happen when you're inside a car, but if you spend too long tearing down the highway on a motorcycle or something, it can do funny things to your brain. When you move at a high speed for an extended period of time, the road ahead starts to grow strangely vivid, and it almost feels like the world around you is frozen in place. It might sound ridiculous, but Amane had personally experienced a powerful urge to step off her fast-moving motorcycle onto the road.
なんだろう。子供が回ってる扇風機に指を突っ込みたくなるような感覚？そういうの何現象っていうのかな？
I think I had an urge for that. I don't know why. That's completely stupid. But I had an urge.
知らないわよ。とにかく安全運転でお願い。
The best way to prevent car sickness is usually to look in the same direction as the driver, allowing your body to anticipate the movement of the car, but in Meikyuu's case, it just didn't seem to be doing much good whatsoever. Amane didn't have much choice but to move along slowly and carefully, trying to minimize any kind of shaking motion. Delicately manipulating the brake and throttle, she tried to keep the car's weight evenly distributed across all four of its tires, pretending that she was winding her way up an icy mountain road covered in salt. The drive took a bit longer than it otherwise would have, but eventually, Higashiya Nagasaki Station came into view. That was where she'd be dropping off Michiru.
もうすぐ着くよ。っていうか、あんた一人で大丈夫なの？
I almost skipped that.
何が？何がって、あんたこれからユージの会社の人に会ってユージの荷物を受け取ってくるんだよ。よく知りもしない相手だし、一人で怖くないの？
I'm not really that worried for her, not because I don't care for her or anything. Of course I do. I care for these fictional characters. It's just that, you know, she kind of went around the world not too long ago.
まあ、全く不安がないわけじゃないけど、よく知らない人と取引するのにはもういい加減慣れたわよ。少なくとも日本語は通じる相手だろうし。
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
あんたってさ、なんかそういうとこすごいよね。この前の牛連れたおばちゃんとかさ、知らない人に平気で声かけるし。
Yeah, she did do that.
私はね、嫌われる前に嫌われるようなツンデレはしないのよ。常に相手より先に嫌うには先制攻撃よ。わかる？全然わかんないけど、なんだか強気だなぁとは思う。つまりそういうことよ。ごめん、本気でわかんない。あんたってさ、自分の頭の中で出た結論を人に伝えるの本当にへったくそだよね。
She really is.
さいわね。だからうまくいくんだってタナトスさんは言ってたんだからね。まあ、わかるけどさ。
Well, whatever. Taken to a certain extreme, stupidity can become charming. What? And the way you'd find a dim-witted pet adorable. Ah, okay. Of course, the whole idea of pets was a uniquely human concept, wasn't it? Perhaps there was something in the genes handed down from the days where our ancestors lived in trees that quietly compelled us to protect creatures like Matsushima Michiru. Pondering these matters quietly, Amane watched as her friend climbed out of the car, bid her a cheerful goodbye, and waddled off bow-legged down the street.
さて、それじゃあ私も車受け取りに行ってくるか。
Retrieving the map she'd made herself last night, Amane tossed it into the passenger seat Michiru had been occupying, then glanced over at it. Her new vehicle was waiting in the parking garage of a shopping center in Itabashi. She knew the place. It had a large, popular movie theater inside. In the period just after the disaster, sorry, I got really tongue-twisted, when every moment she spent in school had been pure torture, she'd once skipped a day and watched a movie there. Fortunately enough, she was already quite tall by then, so she didn't really look like a truant student in her everyday clothes. What was the movie I saw again? The title wasn't coming to mind. She seemed to remember it was a Western film starring some famous actor in the role of a street racer. I wonder what it could be. At first, she hadn't been planning to see a movie. She'd just gotten on a train, then let it carry her along. And after a bit of aimless wandering, she'd happened to find herself in front of a theater. There wasn't anything she wanted to see, but after heading inside to kill some time, she found herself buying a ticket for a car movie anyway. Somehow or other, automobiles always seemed to find their way into her life. I wonder what this new car is going to be like. After they rescued Yuji, it would need to carry him, Amane, Michiru, Makina, and Sachi, so at the very least, they needed space for 5 people. Obviously, that meant it wouldn't be a 2-seater sports car. From what Thanatos had said, they were dealing with armed soldiers, and there was a possibility they'd come under attack. Maybe it would be a thick, sturdy vehicle? Then again, she described it as a lightweight, so a clunky hunk of armor on wheels didn't seem particularly likely. Thanatos claimed to have taken her preferences into account, but who knew what that even meant? In any case, once Amane switched over to the new vehicle, she'd have to say goodbye to the lovely Cross 4 she was currently driving. That was a bit of a bummer. They hadn't been together for so long, or for very long, but this car had served her well. It was a pity she didn't have time to give him a courtesy run through the car wash. Sorry about that, and thanks for everything. Tapping her fingers fondly on the steering wheel, Amane made sure to express her gratitude as well as her regrets. Talking to cars is totally normal. Not long after passing the local train station, the the shopping center came into view. Approaching the parking garage, Amane poked her car's nose up to the gate, rolled down her window, and grabbed a ticket from the machine. Once inside, she guided the cross-4 up the spiraling slope, ignoring the grinding of the mechanical LSD. And after reaching the 5th level, she pulled it neatly into the first available space. She left the car there with the key in the ignition. Someone had been hired to take it back to the rental company. It felt a bit... God damn, I keep tripping on my tongue. It felt a bit awkward to abandon it. But right now, her top priority was finding the parking spot marked number 12. Presumably, the new car had also been left unlocked for her. She was a bit nervous someone might have stolen it. The spot Amane had parked in was number 28. After orienting herself, she headed down toward the lower numbers. God damn it! I am really tripping over my tongue. As she walked past spots 25 and 24, the Thanatos phone in her pocket suddenly began to vibrate. When Amane retrieved the phone from her pocket, she found a message reading, "Registered vehicle within 20 meters" on the screen, with a blue button below it marked Identify. Yeah, it would identify the vehicle, right? Couldn't hurt to give it a try, right? When she tapped the button, something nearby let out a cutesy little beep beep. Looking in the direction of the sound, she noticed a vehicle about 20 meters away that was flashing its hazard lights to inform her of its location. What is it? Thanatos had described it as a light, fast, and easy-to-drive vehicle. To be sure, this met all of those criteria. Nonetheless, the vehicle sitting demurely in spot number 12 was basically the last thing Amane had expected to find there. What's so special about this thing? Well, what is it? Walking up to her new ride, Amane began a more thorough inspection. First, she circled all around it and observed it from multiple angles. After a bit of prodding, tapping, and pushing at the frame, she squatted down to get a better look at the tires. At the very least, this wasn't a standard model. That much was clear enough, but she couldn't help feeling more than a little let down. In fact, her current emotions were perhaps best expressed by the phrase, "What the heck, man?" Still, there wasn't much point complaining. No matter what kind of car she was given, Amane's job was to drive it according to her orders. Sliding into the driver's seat, she breathed in a lungful of new car smell and brought her hands to the wheel. For some reason, it felt as comfortable as slipping her feet into a familiar pair of shoes. With a twist of the key already sitting in the ignition, she tried starting the car. After a momentary pause, it rumbled to life. From the sound of things, it had a high compression engine. The grumbling, grouchy sound it emitted while idling was a bit like a growl of a lion. To Amane's ears, it suggested a certain fierceness. She didn't trust aftermarket temperature gauges, but they were good enough for rough estimates. Watching as the needle rose slowly up towards 65 degrees, she gently shifted into first gear and released the clutch. There was more torque in the low gears than she'd expected. They might have increased the engine's displacement. As she slowly eased the car forward, all the displeasure she'd felt only moments before melted away in an instant, and in its place, excitement bubbled up irrepressibly within her. It was immediately obvious. This really was a special vehicle. Well, what is it? Struggling with the temptation to find some place where she could play around with her shiny new toy, Amane turned the wheel and set off toward her rendezvous with Meikyuu. I guess we're not going to know. I guess not. I guess we have to go see what Meikyuu is up to first. Never mind. Leave me in suspense, alright? Now then, as for Komanesachi, dressed, as always, in an impeccably neat-made uniform, she was cheerfully dragging a cart that held an enormous travel bag up and down the aisles of a hardware store. At a glance, one might have assumed that she was a servant from some mansion who'd been given leave, and was now buying the things she'd need for her journey back home. But the items she was purchasing were far too peculiar. Butane gas for use with camp stoves, large quantities of aluminum foil, boxes of bath salts, aluminum plumbing pipes, bags of fertilizer from the gardening department, 3 large plastic boxes. The list went on and on. And after grabbing item after item off the shelf seemingly at random, she finished up by seizing the store pharmacy's entire supply of bandages and disinfectant.
抗生物質製剤と局所麻酔剤も買ったし、なんだろう、まだ何か足りないような気がする。
With preparations of this sort, it always felt like something was missing, no matter how much you bought. But if you went overboard, transporting and storing your gear would become a major issue. The key was identifying the things you absolutely needed, then packing them as compactly as possible. That meant leaving out anything you could obtain on site or replace with a substitute of some kind. Even medical supplies were no exception. As long as you had painkillers for internal injuries and disinfectant for external wounds, you could figure out the rest as you went. After carefully reviewing everything she'd bought at the hardware store, Sachi proceeded to divide the supplies among her 3 plastic boxes. The plan was to create 3 emergency bug-out boxes to be placed in various locations. She'd leave one of them among the bushes in a small park just across the road. Once the rest of her gear was hidden along their escape routes, Sachi herself would be able to travel rather lightly. Should she ever need to resupply, she could do so quickly by retrieving her caches from their hiding spots. This was the Project Chipmunk to which Thanatos had referred. The boxes themselves didn't take long to pack. All she had to do now was hide them in various crucial locations, and stage 1 of the plan would be complete. First up was the little park. There were a number of tiny green spaces like this one in the neighborhood, often serving no apparent purpose. Many contained storage sheds full of firefighting gear or emergency equipment, and some even hid entrances to underground facilities, but for the most part, they weren't designed as recreational spaces for children or families. That meant the box she left here almost certainly wouldn't be discovered unless some pervert happened to stumble across it while dragging a corpse into the bushes. Of the remaining boxes, that was strange. Of the remaining boxes, she'd leave one in the coin lockers of a baseball stadium near her anticipated escape route, then pack the other in a cardboard box and have a shipping service send it to a conveniently located office. That made 2 resupply caches she could easily retrieve, and 1 backup cache with the logistics in the hands of a third party. She'd have 3 different cards she could play depending on how the situation developed. Any Transportation Corps officer worth their salt would set up at least this much redundancy in advance. Oh, I hope. Preparing for the unforeseen was a task that involved dwelling endlessly on worst-case scenarios. Having completed her initial preparations, Sachi had paused briefly to consider her next move, and in that moment, a sudden wave of anxiety, and fear had washed over her. Inevitably, her mind had returned to the most basic of questions. Were they really going to pull this off? Was this really going to work? It wasn't that she had any complaints regarding Project Chipmunk. She was second-guessing her own choices, asking herself if enlisting in this war had been the correct decision. Now's not the time to really think about that when you get right down to it. Her faith in this mission was all she had to stand on. But as she labored away alone, that faith had begun to tremble beneath her feet. She had to carry out her duties all alone. That solitude gave rise to fear. But she knew what to do. Kamane Sachi knew exactly what to do. When you're about to fall apart, go ahead and eat your lunch. Those were the words of Suo Amane, warrant officer first class who provisioned all of the Mihama Women's Corps meals. She had spoken them this morning, while handing Sachi her boxed lunch. When your heart falters, take a moment to nourish your body. While you fill your empty belly, think of the comrades you've shared meals with. Remember the faces you've seen around your table. As she stood anxiously hugging the shoulders of her maid uniform, Sachi's gaze had found its way to the fighter pilot lunch that Amane had packed for her. Reaching out to the box, Sachi retrieved a long sushi roll and took a big bite. Within moments, she could feel the anxiety in her heart begin to melt away. You know, it'd be pretty cool if eating, just in general, would just take the stress and anxiety of whatever the fuck just away. That would be a dream come true. When she closed her eyes, she could see her friends gathered around the dinner table. The image was vivid and clear. What sort of expressions did they have on their faces? They were smiling. Every last one of them. It was the very picture of a harmonious family. And this was why Sachi had chosen to fight. She'd do anything for these people, for the chance to bask in this warmth again. The flavor of cucumber, dried gourd, tuna and mayonnaise, natto and salmon spread slowly across her tongue. It was the familiar taste of Warrant Officer Suo's cooking. Making quick work of the sushi, Sachi washed it all down with the pleasantly fizzy cider. By the time she finished, not even the slightest tinge of fear remained in her heart. That might be a bit of an exaggeration, but sure. So long as you can remember the smiles of your comrades, you can keep fighting. With that conviction burning in her breast, alright, Sachi marched off toward her post with a spring in her step. Well, all seems to be going well for Sachi. What's going on with Sakaki? And as many of her field agents were struggling with their doubts and fears, Sakaki Yumiko was sitting alone in the houseboat with her headphones on, listening to music on her laptop. Everyone was preparing for combat. This was an absolutely crucial period of time, and for that very reason, it was important to rest when she had the chance. The gentle melodies flowing into her ears were immensely soothing. When she focused on them, it almost felt as if the chaotic events that would soon be unfolding were already a thing of the past. But just as Yumiko was starting to relax in earnest, she noticed a peculiar sound underneath the music. It almost felt like a quiet voice was whispering something to her through her headphones. What the fuck? Was it just her imagination? She thought she could hear someone resentfully speaking the word senpai. She'd heard the absurd old urban legends about cursed CDs and such, but surely there had to be some other explanation. Straining her ears, she tried to focus on the peculiar sound. What the hell is going on? I'm at a loss. Letting out a shriek that she wouldn't have believed herself capable of producing, Yumiko tumbled backward out of the chair she'd been seated on. Tangled up in a jumble of intense emotions, Yumiko struggled just to speak coherently. But by the time she forced out the phrase "good lord," her mind had finally managed to resume something resembling functional activity. Lifting herself up off the floor, where she'd been lying on her back like a wrestler who'd been hit with the German suplex, she hurriedly pulled her skirt back into place. What the hell? Man, technology really has gone too far. Being called plain and boring all the time had started to get under her skin. Perhaps it was a bit silly to start off by changing her underwear, but no one had the right to mock her for trying. Clearing her throat, she tried to push these thoughts from her mind. Maybe that was the reason. Then why in God's name hadn't she said so in the first place?
A、ベストを捨てたベターなプラン B の他に、さらに条件の厳しくなったプラン C、さらには徐々に配線の色が濃くなるプラン D、いろいろなものを諦めて最優先事項のみに集中するプラン E、そして最悪とも言えるプラン F まで、とりあえず6通りのプランを用意しました。
I see we're going near on this bitch.
まあでしょうね。人員、機材、時間を考慮すれば、それこそいくらでもプランは立てられる。
中には誰かを犠牲にしてでも目的を達するプランもあります。他の子たちには説明できません。
Well, it was nice knowing Meikyuu.
時には 最善どころか次善、次々善を捨てるケースもあるでしょう。犠牲を出す前にミッションフェイルドのタイミングを決めるのはあなたに一任します。つまり作戦は立案するし、状況に応じてミッションのアペンド指示は出しますが、それに従うか否かはあなたの判断に委ねますということです。
あなたはアナライザーでありアドバイザーであって命令はしないということね。
その通り。所詮私は機械です。機械の出す答えというのはいつだってその時はそれが最善だったという結果になりがちです。多くの意味を含めた遺恨を残さないという意味でも、最後は現場の人間の判断に委ねるのが一番間違いがありません。
遠回しな説明はいらないわ。結局はどんな結果になろうと現場指揮官の私の責任ということでしょ。今朝みんなを送り出す時に訓示をしたのだけれど、私も同じようなことをみんなに言ったわ。イリスさんに松島さん、スオーさんに小峰さん、それぞれが自己の責任において行動しているように、私は私の責任で指令を出します。あなたのせいにはしないから安心して。
そう。では新しく追加されたプラン C から F までの概要はあなたのパソコンに転送しておきます。軽くでいいから目を通しておいて。
What are these plans gonna entail?
ねえ、タナトスさん、あなた途中でいなくなるの？
あら、気がついた？
プランはできるだけ単純に2通りって絞ったのに、今の段階になってプランを増やして、しかもそれを私に説明しておく必要って、あなたがいなくなる以外で何かある？こうしてわざわざ連絡してきて、タナトスシステムには依存するな、全ては自己判断だと釘を刺したのも、あなたがいなくなるからでしょ。
Why is she going to quote unquote go silent here?
その可能性もあるというだけの話よ。必ずいなくなると決まっているわけではないわ。忘れていないとは思うけれど、今こうしてあなたと会話している私はタナトスシステムの一部です。いつ私の行動がメインシステムに発見されて停止させられるか分かりません。
This whole Thanatos system shit is annoying and confusing.
待って、その情報私聞いた？
どの情報？
あなたがタナトスシステムの一部だという話は聞いていたけれど、今回の行動がメインシステムの認知していない行動で発覚すれば阻止されるという話は聞いてないわよ。
国家の危機に対して美浜の学生たちを利用するなんてプロポーズが認可されるはずないじゃない。当然メインのシステムには内密だし、もし発覚すれば作戦の即時中止と私の停止命令が出ます。
そんな大事なことを。
別に隠すつもりはなかったし、聞かれたら答えるつもりだったわ。それに私がいなければ何もできないわけでもないでしょ。事実、私がいなければ何もしなかった？
それは。
私が健在なうちは出せる情報と提案は出します。けれど私がいつまでも健在だとは思わないことと、私を信用しすぎないこと。言った通り、電子制御に頼りすぎれば必ずミスが出ます。私にできることは情報の収集、分析、そして提案、この3つだけ。メインシステムが国家を手足とするように、サブシステムである私の手足があなたたちということ。そして時には頭で考えるより体が先に動くこともある。お分かり？
ええ。
そんなに不安そうにしなくても、私との連絡がつかなくなることを織り込んだプランも用意してあるわ。ちなみにプラン D では電車を逃走に使用するケースが考慮されているけれど、さすがの私でも信号切り替えや乗り入れは人間が操作しているからコントロールはできないわ。それと万が一タナトスシステムがヒースオスロの手に落ちたりしたような場合は、間違っても私を助けようなどとは思わないこと。いい？今回の作戦で切り捨てていいものがあるとすれば、それは私だけ。わかった？
スオさん、 あなたを見捨てることに大反対するでしょうね。
Oh no, she wouldn't.
それを言いくるめるのもあなたの仕事よ。
嫌な仕事ね。
だからいいお給料がもらえるのよ、司令官って。
そうが一番気楽だって言われてるわけが分かった気がするわ。
Damn, dude. Alright, who's next? Oh, I guess we're going back to Meikyuu here. I have no idea what the fuck she's doing. Alright, whatever. We're out of time, so we'll end it here and we'll see what's going on with Meikyuu in the next episode. We're still in the Operation Commences Part 2. Alright, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more. I will see you guys in the next episode. Take it easy.